Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure for me to host Mr. Marko Korenjak today. Marko Korenjak is the current president of ELPA, the European Liver Patient Association, and the president of Slovenia HEP, the Slovenian Association for Patients Suffering from Hepatitis. Is leading activities of communication and dissemination in the framework of many EU-funded medical research projects. And to be more precise, ELPA is part of 10 EU-funded medical research projects. Thank you for being with us today, Marko. I would like to start with a very broad question. You represent a patient association, an European patient association. So I would like to ask you, what is the role of patient associations participating in medical scientific projects? We know that ELPA is involved in 10 EU-funded medical research projects. It's a lot. And why, from your point of view, the involvement of patient association is crucial?
So first of all, thank you very much for your kind words and a nice introduction and also invitation. Yes, the patient role has changed. So we have seen major steps in how to engage patient associations, patient advocates, and patients in medical research. So we went from being just part of the last phases of the clinical research, for example, to being involved in several different phases and stages of even development of medical research. And then in regards of the specific medical research, being involved in different committees that are overlooking the research and giving elevation regarding the research that is going on. So we have seen this in other patient organizations and patients. For example, in the cancer field, it has been always the case that patients are more involved in the medical research from the start, and with researchers and doctors tackling together the field. And in recent years, we have seen this increasing also in the space of liver patients.
Thank you very much. Talking about the IPQB project specifically, the project is focused on hepatitis B. We know that in general, the hepatitis elimination movement is a huge movement that involves the medical research field, but also the patient organization, which is the liver patient organization role in this movement, and specifically how ELPA can contribute to the objectives of the IPQB project, that it's mainly finding a cure for the hepatitis B.
So if we go from very broad and general notion about hepatitis to the specific of the medical research project IPQB, so on a general note, there has been a huge steps forward in tackling hepatitis B. So we have seen development of vaccine, which is extremely effective in protecting people against a virus of hepatitis B. We have seen several countries that have implemented regular vaccinations about hepatitis B. But still, hepatitis B infection is present, and still we have patients, even in the countries where vaccination is mandatory, even in that countries, we have some people who contract hepatitis B. And the problem with hepatitis B is that if you are a patient and you get hepatitis B, you have a very high probability that you will have to take some drugs for the rest of your life. So several groups now in the world are trying to tackle that. They are trying to develop a drug or a treatment or a specific kind of treatment that would be clearing the hepatitis B from the body of the patient. The problem is that the small part of this virus is in the nucleus of the cell. So this is something that is really hard to get rid of. And even if you don't get rid of, to take drugs that would suppress the hepatitis B virus reproduction. So we have several groups now in the world that are searching for this kind of cure. And one of this group, I'm very happy to say, is the group that started from France. And the project is called IPCure-B. We managed to secure funds from European Commission, which also saw this as an important part of tackling or attacking the hepatitis B virus and having a hepatitis elimination process on the go. So in regards of patient collaboration, patient involvement in the project, so we were asked to be involved in the project at the very beginning. So at every stage of development of clinical process, discussion about what to use, how to use, will people be keen to participate in that kind of a project? So we were involved from the beginning. And I think this is the biggest positive thing when you involve patients from the beginning. There are several points where you can avoid problems in the future. You can avoid development of such a clinical research that people will not be keen to participate, or you will be harder to find patients to involve in clinical research. So I think the voice of the patient in the beginning is extremely important in order to avoid problems in the future, but we need to say something extremely important in regards of the patient. So patients should stick to the patient role, and we should look at the medical research from the patient view, from the view of the patient, not from the view of a researcher or from the view of a medical doctor. This is something that they should stick. So everybody should stick to their role, and even patient and patient representatives. So we are not getting into the field of research. We are not getting into the field of discussing the different treatments and how this is affecting human body. We are just looking at the process, and we are looking, are the people who will be there keen to participate or not, and what are the major problems or unmet medical needs that need to be solved in order to medical research to reach its goals at the end. So I'm very hopeful that medical research project IPCure-B will be successful, because if it will be successful, we will find a cure for hepatitis B, which is something that I said from the beginning, many different research groups are doing now in the world. And one of this group is also the group of medical research IPCure-B.
Thank you very much. It was really interesting. I have a very last question, just to fulfill my curiosity. You talk about the role of patient and the role of scientists, you know, and each part especially in a huge project with many partners should respect its own role. And you also talk about the difference between having a vaccine and having a cure for the same disease. That is something mentioned also by Professor Zulim during his own interview, and I'm inviting everybody also to check on ELPA's website and also on the IPCure-B website the rest of the interview to the principal investigators involved in IPCure-B. He mentioned the difficulties he had to find found for projects focusing on cure, because everybody in a certain moment in the research field was focusing on the vaccine, or who had to give money just said, but there is a vaccine, it's enough, it's okay. So you have been a patient advocate for many years. Have you seen this shift also in the patients community? So my question is, how also difficult could be communicating this shift from a vaccine to a cure in the patient community?
So thank you for the question. I was just thinking that we have the same situation, but other way around in hepatitis C. So we have a cure, but we don't have a vaccine. So I think that for tackling any kind of hepatitis, we need the vaccine and we need the cure. In the scope of hepatitis B, this is also extremely important, because with the cure, people will not take the medicine on a long run. Because if you take the medicine on the long run, any kind of medicine, it will have some, it will do different things to your body. And it's probably better if you are better off not having to take something for the rest of your life. In regards of giving information to patient communities, to general public about the medical research. So a few years ago, European Commission has found out that this is a problem. So there are many medical research projects that are funded from the money from the general public, from the European institutions, and no one knows what is going on. So I congratulate the European Commission for changing the rules and saying that we need end-of-the-line consumer or a patient advocate in the process of the whole research in order to see or to know what is going on, but not just involving them in the research. I see there we need to take a step forward. We need to constantly share this information with the general public. This is extremely important even today in the time of pandemic, in the time of COVID. We have seen a lowering of trust of the general public to the medical community. And this is also based on the notion that a general public usually do not know how much money, time, efforts goes into finding a drug or finding a cure. And these are the information we need to share with the general public, that they will know that everything that is on the market that has, like, for example, logo of European Medicine Agency is something that has been through a very rigorous process. And it's not just like that on the shelf. It can be something that you can trust.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.